strong demand for data and a larger subscriber base boosted first quarter profit at Globe Telecom. The number 2 telecom provider in the Philippines says data-related businesses now account for more than half of total service revenue. Let's bring in Globe's president and CEO, Ernest, who joins us exclusively on the line from Manila. Mr. Koo, good to have you with us. First up, is the pace of profit growth sustainable going forward?
Actually, our profit estimates for the year, we originally gave guidance of about 40% in terms of our EBITDA margins, and we're moving that up now to the mid-40s given the strong revenue momentum that we are seeing for the year.
We talk about how data is helping to drive growth, but there is a data price war. In fact, the packages in the Philippines among the cheapest in Asia. That's eating into the company's profitability. How will this play out?
Well, we are hoping that price stability will continue to maintain in the market. There was a period of peace, actually, of about 14 to 15 months there between 2016 and 2017. However, there was pressure again with our competitor releasing some free data allocations for YouTube, actually, 1 gig per day to be exact, and a response from Globe is forthcoming on that. But we certainly hope that prices do stabilize. I mean, the need to remain profitable is very, very high and very, very important because the capex required to maintain growth in this industry, to keep the people happy, to keep the speeds up to where they are, is absolutely necessary. And today, Globe is already investing well in excess of 30% of its revenues back into capex.
Mr. Koo, David here in Hong Kong. Can you give us a sense of what that response might be from your end to your competitors' move, as you mentioned there, to with that offering? I mean, are you prepared to cut prices further? Can you tell us more about that step?
Well, we've never been one that leads based on price. All we can say is that it's something that's going to be a bit more innovative than simply offering free. It's something going to be hopefully accretive in the future that journeys people onto new habits on their smartphones. So I'll leave it at that for now, David, and something in the weekend should be forthcoming.
All right. Now, perhaps more medium, longer term, this issue of the third telco. I know there are lots of facets to this that we can talk about, but just give us a sense of when you think the competitive presence of that third telco, if it does get announced later this year, might you feel that? And are you starting to actively prepare for that?
Well, I think it will take some time. Setting up a telco is no easy feat. Lots of things to set up from network, IT, sales channels, and all that. It took us years to get to where we are today, and we certainly don't expect someone to build this up overnight. As far as preparations, we have always been ready for any competition that comes to market. Globe has been able to compete quite effectively with a very large, very well-funded, highly profitable incumbent, and we have wrested the lead on the mobile side and wireless side for that matter. And we think our brand is quite strong in terms of brand loyalty from our consumers. We've shown that many times over in difficult times back in 2010 or 2011, actually, to be exact, when our network was poor and just about to be finished with its change-out. We continued to gain market share in those dark days of bad quality. And now that we have a good network, a network that sustains great experience, good video streaming, we think we're very well positioned to compete with new or old players in this market.
Mr. Koo, is there any concern that perhaps the government is providing too much incentives for the new player?
Well, there certainly are sweetening the pot, given it's been unprecedented in terms of what they've been offering, in terms of a spectrum cash that they've been given, spectrum across all frequencies and all bands, from 3G, 4G, and I don't know if they were going to award 5G. Let's see what happens. It would be great if we were given those same opportunities when we started the business. Certainly, we had to start off with very small frequency slices that we kind of earned as our market share grew and as our subscriber base grew. And I hope that they will treat us the same way. Once we continue to gain market share, we continue to gain traffic, that they will still reallocate frequencies to us, if possible, or assign us new frequencies.
We're seeing that telecom companies across the Asia-Pac region are looking at content to drive future business, future growth. What are you doing to this end?
We're quite aggressive with content. As you know, we have probably one of the best slates in content partnerships around the world, from the Disneys, the Netflixes, Fox, Amazon. These are all partners of Globe. We continue to use those partnerships to drive mobile data usage in the country. Now, in order to drive that even further, we've established an entity called Globe Studios that recently partnered with Netflix to bring the first Filipino movie, full-length movie, into Netflix called Birdshot. And we have multiple projects in the pipeline, and we hope that with more Filipino content in these very good OTT apps, as they're called, that Filipinos will be more inclined to move their video viewing from the traditional TV, traditional cable, into the streaming world. And that's it can help us increase data consumption among the various plans that we have.
Mr. Koo, I follow you on Instagram, and I believe you follow me as well. And recently, I've seen your trips to, say, Hangzhou. You visited Alibaba. You've also been visiting Huawei. The reason I bring that up is I just want to ask you, the president, Rodrigo Duterte, he's improved relations with the Chinese. I'm wondering whether or not you've actually felt that improvement in dealing with your Chinese counterparts, or is that almost a non-factor for you?
Well, we've been dealing with the Chinese companies for some time. The Huawei relationship went full blast sometime in 2010 when we did the network change out, and we continue to have a very close relationship with them in terms of technology. We get to see a lot of the newest stuff that they've brought out. We are exploring 5G together. Now, with regard to Hangzhou and the Alibaba Group, as you know, they recently entered into a joint venture with us, acquiring 45% of our Mint fintech business, under which GCash resides. We continue again to take advantage of that relationship and the access that they have across multiple fronts. I guess having the president be a good sponsor for Chinese relationships helps us as well. Some administration in the past wasn't that inclined, and so many more questions were asked as to our partnerships. But today, partnering with China seems to be in vogue, and it's something that Globe is very well entrenched in.
Mr. Koo, one last thing. On the issue of potentially disposing of some of your tower assets, is that sale predicated on you being able to convince your rival PLDT to share facilities? Because we talked to them last week. They don't seem to be sold on that idea. And how much are you expecting to raise from that exercise if you do indeed proceed?
Well, the short answer is a few $100 million is what we're hoping to derive from that. Certainly, capital that we can redeploy into the network as capacity is constantly needed for upgrades. Certainly for the towers, it's still up in the air. I mean, we know that multi-tenancy is the optimal position to be in. It reduces costs for everybody. It makes the returns for the investor slightly higher. But again, we can't control what our competitor feels like doing or want to do, and their strategy is a bit different from ours. We just believe that the towers are no longer as strategic as they were once before, and it's something that we should be redeploying at this stage.